Hi. Hello. Happy Monday, everyone. And it is such a rainy, gross day outside. Hopefully the weather starts getting better because I'm so ready for better spring weather and all this rain can just stop. Anyways, I just wanted to pop on here today. If you guys have been joining me on Mondays, I've been doing these Facebook Live wedding tips, and I've really enjoyed it because there's so much that goes on at weddings that I see as a wedding photographer that I'm like, oh my goodness, y'all need to know about this. And so I'm just kind of sharing my inside tips for you guys. If you are planning your wedding, getting married, or maybe you have a friend getting married, you can totally pass on this information to them and hopefully help them as well as they are planning their wedding. So today's topic, actually this week I've gotten a lot of wedding inquiries in this week, and they were awesome. They did a really great job emailing me and asking the right questions, but recently I've had to add this to my contact page when people contact me because people were not asking this question. So today's topic is, what is the number one first question you should ask a photographer when you contact them for your wedding photography? And this question people do not ask ever. And that's why I had to add it onto my contact page and say, hey, I need to know this before we even talk about anything. That's how much people were not telling me this information. So, and I did a little research y'all will find super interesting. So the number one question that I wish people would ask me or tell me from the get-go, like the first question is, are you available for our wedding dates? I wish more people would ask me that. And they don't. And I don't know what it is. I think a lot of brides are so excited to hire a wedding photographer, and you're so excited to ask them all the questions, and that gets overlooked so quickly. So the number one question you should ask is, are you available for my date? And just because you don't want to get your hopes up that that photographer, you could work with them if they were already booked. So thankfully, all the inquiries I got this week, I got a lot. All of them were great. They said, hey, here's our date. We'd like to know if you're available. And I've also made it mandatory on my contact form that I need to know when your wedding date is. That's the number one thing I need to know. And I actually looked up on the knot.com. I Googled this morning, and I said on Google, I was like, okay, what is the number one question to ask a photographer when you're hiring them, a wedding photographer? And it was nowhere. This question was nowhere. I looked on the knot.com, on Wedding Wire, all these different wedding blogs, and it was not on there. It was the number one question on brides.com. They covered it, which is awesome. So they did advise brides to ask, are you available on my date? And I was so impressed that they put that. But there was article after article after article that was like, here's the most top important questions you should ask a photographer. Here's the first questions you should mention to them. And that question was not on there. So I'm just telling you guys, the first question that you should ask is, are you available on my date at all? You'd be surprised how many people reach out to me and they're like, the actual question that they do ask is, how much do you charge? And that is important. It is important to know that you're in the price range of the photographer that you are looking at. Of course, like if you couldn't afford them, that would be such a bummer. So that is an important question, but most important would be, are you available? I've had so many people say, we just want to know how much you charge. Our wedding day is like maybe sometime this October. Unless you have a date picked out, I can't really help you until you do have a date picked out. And this goes for any wedding vendor, whether it's like a florist or makeup artist or even a venue. That should be the number one question you should ask people when you are looking to hire wedding vendors is, are you available for my date? And one tip is, if you are looking to have either like your venue or a photographer or a makeup artist, if that is the most important thing to you, I would even challenge you to see what days they are available. I've had people reach out to me when they got engaged and they said, hey, we're looking at picking our venue and our dates, and we haven't booked anything yet, but our number one vendor is photography. That's the most important to us, so we want to see when you are available. And that is such an honor to me that they would even consider photography the most important. That is amazing. So I've actually done weddings where the bride might reach out to me and say, hey, we're looking at a couple of different dates that this wedding venue has, and we are really, really wanting to work with you. What is your availability? And that is so cool. So for me to say, hey, I'm booked on these 2 days, but I have this one open the month that you might be looking at. So that's a little tip. If you are really, really wanting to work with a vendor, maybe ask them, hey, what days are you available before we book our date? And that is a little bit different than asking someone like, hey, we're getting married maybe next spring, so we just want to know how much you charge. That's very broad, and at that point I wouldn't really be able to help you if you're looking to book something and get that task checked off your list. So yeah, that's kind of just my tip. That's my number one question I wish people would ask me is, are you available? And to tell me what their wedding date is. In fact, I actually had a lady maybe last year reach out to me, and I asked her several times, maybe 3 times in an email, well, what date is, it was her daughter, what date is your daughter's wedding? What date is it? And she would not tell me. She wouldn't tell me, and I don't know why. So I could not help her. And I said, okay, well, once you figure out what the date is, I can help you further. But she just wanted to ask me questions, I guess. But she should have just said, hey, here's our date. Can you help us then? So anyways, just a little inside tips on what you should ask. Anyways, hope y'all have a great Monday. Get everything done that you need to get done. And I think next week I'm going to have a makeup artist on here. My friend Paige is going to come on and give some tips for brides for wedding makeup. And it's going to be really fun. Super excited to have her join us. So y'all have a great week, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.